Good morning, everybody. Isn't it a glorious day for October? It's bright sunshine here. Anyway, swiftly moving on. Whether you're a multinational corporation or a small business, having a well-structured data policy is essential. In today's world, data is one of the most valuable assets, and with growing regulatory scrutiny, clear guidelines on how data is collected, used, and protected are crucial to avoid fines, reputational damage, and operational disruptions. A robust data policy not only ensures legal compliance, but also builds trust with clients and strengthens overall data security. CAPS is an organisation committed to supporting accountancy professionals by providing resources, certification, and ongoing professional development. In the finance sector, data plays a pivotal role. Financial data is highly sensitive, and mishandling it can result in serious consequences, such as data breaches or non-compliance with regulations like GDPR. For CAPS members, mastering data management is essential not only for regulatory compliance, but also for safeguarding client trust and ensuring long-term business success. CAPS are working with the IAB to help develop a robust and comprehensive data strategy. This collaboration aims to create guidelines specifically tailored to the needs of the accountancy profession, ensuring that members adhere to best practices in data management, meet regulatory requirements, and enhance the security of their data systems. In this month's newsletter, David will be speaking with Derek from CAPS about the significance of data in finance. So please don't miss it. Right, I'm going to swiftly move on to my lips this morning don't want to work. To Thomas from Bagpiece Trainer. Thomas from Bagpiece Trainer will delve into the important topic of members' voluntary liquidation. Tom will explain the purpose and advantages of MVL for businesses seeking a solvent exit strategy. He will also highlight how Bagpiece Trainer can provide expert guidance throughout every stage.
It's me, sorry. It's
you.
Yeah, sorry.
Every stage of your business life cycle, from early growth to winding down, ensuring that you make informed decisions and secure the best outcomes for your business at every turn. Good morning, Thomas.
Hello, good morning. Thank you. And
just to let everybody know, Thomas has very kindly joined us from holiday, which is why he's got a little bit of background noise.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about this, guys, but look, I'll try and talk as loud as I can, and then maybe everyone else will shut up. So firstly, I'd like to say I watched the last IAB video. I think you hosted the last coffee one. It was fantastic and well worth a watch for anybody that's not seen it. And during that, I picked something up while I was watching that video, and I'd like to touch on that at the end of the presentation, if that's okay. So I'll do a brief introduction about members' voluntary liquidation, which is a hot topic at the moment. I saw some stats from HMRC yesterday that there's been more capital gains tax receipts from into Revenue and Customs in the last quarter 3, than there were in the whole of the last reporting year. So there is definitely a shift in business owners capitalising and getting their assets out of the business for a solvent liquidation, as well as other means. But so Sujay, if you could move on for me, please, to the next slide. So I'm going to talk to you today about the MVL process. I'll go through the process of the MVL. I'll touch on business asset disposal relief, and its connections with a member's voluntary liquidation, and the risks of using BADR as it's now known. It used to be called Entrepreneurs Relief. Some of you might know it as Entrepreneurs Relief still. And then we've got an autumn budget overview. Be prepared for me to sit on the fence there. And then I'll go through with a summary and answer any questions at the end. If you could move to the next slide for me, please, that'd be great. Okay, so just a little bit about me. I'm Thomas Harris. I'm a licensed IP. I've been in practice since 2008, qualified in 2019. I work in the Leicester office, and I work with my partners Martin Buttress and Carolyn Best. We predominantly focus on SMEs in our office, but we're well equipped to deal with any size of firm. So it's no job too big, no job too small kind of attitude in the Leicester office there. I'll touch on the objectives of the presentation. It's to go through to give you an understanding of the MVL process and business asset disposal relief, their interaction and the relevance that they have to companies that are considering an MVL, I'll aim to discuss the risks that might affect the successful claiming of the BADR during the MVL process, and we'll talk about the impact of the upcoming autumn budget. So, Sujay, if you could move on to the next slide for me, please. And I'll just, whilst we're here, I'll just touch on to the IAB framework. I've been looking at this in detail. I feel that our business, we are end of life. So normally if a client comes to see us, most of the time that will be end of life for the client, because they'll have looked at putting their company into a solvent liquidation. That might mean retirement for them. That's on the solvent side of things. On the insolvent side of things, we might be looking, you might have a client that's struggling with debt, and something that I picked up on in the last IAB conference, somebody asked the question, or they said that they couldn't increase their fees because one of their clients was struggling to pay the fees. It's my view, and that's a strong sign that the client's insolvent and that they should be potentially looking at their options to deal with the company's debts. Something that we can do as insolvency practitioners is assist clients by dropping that unsecured debt that might be shackling them down and preventing the business from running efficiently and moving on to a different trajectory. I guess the point of that is if that business is then no longer burdened by the debt and they're able to perform better, then in turn they may then be able to become a higher paying client for you, with the assistance of putting the company into a liquidation. We are here as 24/7 business advisors to you from the insolvency side of things. So insolvency is a very specialist subject that only certain people are insured to give advice in respect of liquidations, administrations. So we're always there for you to add that extra line of value to your business. A member's voluntary liquidation, I'll touch on that now, is a process where solvent companies, one that can pay all of its debts, can put their company into liquidation. The procedures used when the company and the directors decide to stop trading and dissolve the company, often for reasons such as retirement, or it could even be a restructure. That could be the movement of 3 companies into one company, or they could be hiving down the companies into several other different smaller companies to pass on to business. So the MVL's legal process, which starts with the directors making a declaration of solvency, followed by a shareholder agreement to pass a special resolution. A licensed insolvency practitioner, such as myself, is then appointed as the liquidator to wind up the company, repay any creditors that are left. Normally, it's a small amount of HMRC corporation tax that's there. And then the surplus assets are then distributed to the shareholders. We tend to distribute cash, but we are also able to distribute property, and that's known as a distribution in specie. Sujay, could I have the next slide, please? Thank you. So the MVL process, it involves an insolvency practitioner, and although those in general accountancy practice might not be so familiar with them, one of the key documents is a confirmation of solvency, also known as a declaration of solvency. That document is a document that the client will swear in front of a solicitor to confirm that their company can pay all of their debts in full within 12 months. Now, getting that wrong is costly. It could result in a 6-month prison sentence or a £5,000 fine, or a combination of the two. So it's really important that if they're making these inquiries, they have to be certain that the company is able to pay all of their debts and to pay the shareholders at the end. To pass a resolution to put a company into a liquidation, the shareholders need to pass this resolution with a 75% majority. To appoint the liquidator, that only needs a 50% majority. So if you've got a larger company where the directors and shareholders are at loggerheads as to who should take the appointment on, it then goes to a vote, and the liquidator that gets the 50% vote gets appointed. Once I'm appointed, I then confirm all of the debts and identify any potential claims by placing an advert in the London Gazette. Creditors then have a chance to come forward. Once they've come forward and we've discharged all of the debts, we then look to pay the shareholders all of the money that's left in the company bank accounts and any assets, physical assets, and they are then distributed to the clients, the shareholders, as a capital distribution. It's the capital distribution that they are then able to claim the business asset disposal relief and the entrepreneurs relief, previously known as the entrepreneurs relief. They're able to apply those sums, the ETR to those sums. Next slide, please, Sujay. So I'll quickly touch on BADR. So BADR is a tax relief in the UK that reduces the amount of capital gains tax payable when disposing of business assets or shares to their personal bank accounts. The relief applies a 10% tax rate on qualifying gains up to a lifetime limit of £1 million. To qualify for the business asset disposal relief, there are certain conditions that need to be met, and it's the job of the accountants and the tax advisors to ensure that the clients qualify for BADR. Unfortunately, as an insolvency practitioner, I'm not qualified to give that advice. Sujay, if you could move on to the next slide for me, that'd be great. So, understanding the business asset disposal relief when it's coupled with the solvent liquidation, there are clearly tax advantages. So, using the BADR, they'll get their capital gains distribution, and that the tax rate can then be reduced to a flat rate of 10%. So, as the shareholders that have got this money to be distributed, there is a very strong chance that they will save a hell of a lot of money. As it stands now, they'd look to save around 30% in tax, because if they were to take their money out in the traditional way, they could be looking at between 30 to 40% by taking the money out as dividends. But with the ETR and the BADR, that could be 10%. Sujay, if you could move on to the next slide for me, that would be great. There are some risks with business asset disposal relief. There are regulatory changes. So as accountants, you'll probably be more aware than me that tax legislation is always subject to change. Often announced in the budget, which is obviously coming up in a week's time. The criteria for BADR can change often, so they might try and change the lifetime limit, or the existence of the relief itself could disappear altogether. Who knows what might happen next week? And this, of course, will affect the shareholders' ability to withdraw their money cost effectively. Money boxing is the practice of storing surplus cash in a company instead of extracting it as salary or dividends, with the intent of claiming BADR during an MVL. HMRC have been actively targeting such tax-motivated retentions of profits, and if they deem that the cash retained is excessive, and deem the MVL to be for tax avoidance purposes, then HMRC can challenge the claim for BADR, which can lead to investigations and potential penalties further down the line. Again, it's down to the accountants to keep an eye on companies keeping their reserves, ensuring that they are kept in line with the company's articles of associations and Memonarts. So whilst the BADR presents an attractive cost-saving benefit, these risks can significantly impact the intended tax advantages. So to mitigate these risks, it's crucial to take early expert advice, notably from an insolvency practitioner, for the planning and the process of the MVL. But then also, if you and your team don't have the necessary tax expertise, then you can speak to one of your member partners. I can't remember the name of the firm now, but they could certainly assist with giving the right tax advice to make sure that the MVL is right for the client. Sujay, if you could move to the next slide for me, please. So the budget in 7 days' time, I cannot read it. I don't know which way it's going to go in terms of business asset disposal relief. There's so many conflicting articles out there in the press at the moment, but I think, as I mentioned earlier today, with the figures released from HMRC for Q3 on the capital gains tax income, there are a lot of business owners that are taking this opportunity to cash in. I think now clients looking to MVL now, and if the change is made, I think they'll be too late. So I think at this point now, it's for the accountants to closely monitor the position for their clients. Look at the lifetime limit. Have open conversations with your clients on an advisory point of view. Again, something that Sarah alluded to in the last coffee morning. having those advisory conversations with your clients could be very beneficial for all parties involved here. Taking the right advice to ensure that the clients qualify for the BADR conditions, and the autumn budget, they may look to align the capital gains tax with income tax. So we could see the CTG rising to fall in line with the tax rate as if they were taking their money out via dividends. Next slide, please, Sujo.
I'm just going to give you a 15-minute warning there, Thomas, as well. So you've got 5 minutes left.
Perfect. So I think I've alluded to this throughout, but if you're looking at an MVL process, then it's an ever-evolving process, and the complexities, they may increase following the autumn budget, and there might be subsequent policy changes after that. The evolving landscape brings new challenges and new potential pitfalls for companies and their shareholders. So again, in this context, it's important that they receive the right taxation advice. Using an insolvency practitioner, you'll be able to talk about the process, the timings. So if we're involved from day one, we can set out to you, okay, so we'll have your advice, we'll then have an initial consultation period with us where we set out what can and can't be done. From there, we can act pretty quickly with a member's voluntary liquidation. So once the engagement letters are signed, ID documents are received for money laundering purposes, we are then able to act quickly and could potentially have the company into liquidation within 7 days. We also tend to get the money out, a promise that we make in the Leicester office, that we get the money back out to clients within 3 business days of us receiving the cash from the bank. Next slide, please, Sujo. I'm actually going to skip this page. It was just a summary of what I've spoken about, but for the sake of repeating myself time, I'll save time and see if there's any questions.
Has anybody got any questions? I've got nothing coming through on the chat. I think you're getting away with it, Thomas, this morning. I think everyone's thinking, oh, you're on all day, we'll let him know.
Yeah, I think if I've got a minute or two, the point I made earlier when somebody was asking about in the last coffee morning, they asked about, clients that are struggling to pay. For me, as an IP, that's one of the very first insolvency warning signings, is somebody using their accountant to basically buy themselves some time to pay other creditors. They feel the relationship's there, and in 9 out of 10 insolvencies I deal with, the accountant's always left behind. So for me, if they are saying they're struggling to pay your fees, then I would certainly be looking to get them some advice to see if we can restructure the debt that they've got elsewhere. And also, Caroline, I think you said to it, you received a load of money during the bounce back loan period, and the clients were first to pay. They were first to pay you, and that's because they need that advice. So if they're not prepared to pay you for your advice, then there's a serious problem.
Yeah. And the earlier you can get somebody in to look at that, the better it is, isn't it?
Yeah, we always we get the phone calls come in, and unfortunately, when those phone calls come in, it's normally too late for them to do any rescue options. And if we can do a rescue option, it retains a client for your IAB members.
Yeah. George has asked, can I have your phone number for your business?
Yeah, I think my mobile number is on the slide as well, so Sujay can circulate those. But we are open to any line of inquiry. Please don't hesitate to give us a call.
Brilliant. And then Devon has asked, just a quick question, on voluntary strike off of a company and tax implications on retained earnings.
Okay, so I think what we're looking at there, you can dissolve a company for £10, but of course, the moment you dissolve a company, any money that's left in that bank account is then bona vacantia, becomes property of the Crown. So it no longer is property of the shareholder. So the only way you can get your money out by doing the £10 dissolution at Companies House is if you extract your money via dividends. Obviously, the tax implications that come with that, they could potentially be paying 42.5% to 32.5% in tax. And that's the only way to get the money out. You can only get the capital gains tax benefit by putting it into a member's voluntary liquidation.
And then I've got another
I hope that answers the question.
Another one from Philip. In a case where the directors can be sure they can pay within 12 months, what other options do they have?
That MVL would be the only option there. They could look to pay all of their debts themselves, and then take the money out, as I've just mentioned, through dividends, leaving nothing in the bank account, and they can then strike the company off themselves once they're satisfied there are no liabilities with revenue and any other creditor.
Excellent. And then I'm just going to read your number out because people watching on video don't get the chat. So it's 066 406 2965. If you want to use it.
6666 is my number. Yeah, my direct line's 2966, and then my mobile number is 07971 942 548. People can WhatsApp me, they can email me, whatever's easiest. I really don't mind how people contact me.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Last one.
Yeah, that last
Does
question.
Does it mean that they settle out of court?
So if there's ongoing, I don't quite understand that question, to be honest. Does he mean that there's ongoing litigation outside of the process, or?
Well, his original question was where the directors can be sure they can pay within 12 months, what other options do they have? And you said the voluntary liquidation was the only one.
Yeah, and that doesn't involve a court, but it is a legal process, but it doesn't involve a court. There's no solvent process that would ever involve a court.
Right, excellent. Hopefully that answers that, Philip. Thank you very much, Tom. And go and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the coffee morning, guys. I'll catch up with you all soon.
Thanks.
Bye. Thank you, Sue J. Goodbye.
Right, so moving swiftly on to Philip Chapman. We are delighted to welcome back Philip Chapman for this month's coffee morning. In this session, Philip will build on the insights shared by Sarah during the previous coffee morning, where she introduced the new IAB member benefit framework. Phil will walk you through how Chrono can provide tailored support at each critical stage of your professional journey, from accessing expert resources to streamlining compliance. Phil will showcase practical ways Chrono tools can help you maximize efficiency in your business. Are you there, Phil?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Good morning.
Technology's working good. Morning.
Do you want to share screen?
I can do, yeah. I've got a few here that I can share. Got to try and figure out how we do it. I've got a small screen at the moment so I'm looking at a few things at once with me. I assume it's the share button.
Yeah.
And the entire screen. Even something you can figure that one out. Let's go for that. There we go. Lovely.
That's sharing screen, but I've just got a black. Yeah. Got Chrono access Chrono Navigate Lite here for free.
Yes, I'm going to go a few bits. I just got this on here because I'll talk a little bit around the partnership first, and I'll go on to Sarah's framework and talk about how we can help you in each turn there. So first of all, thanks everybody for joining and for listening now. You may have seen me on some socials giving an overview of the partnership with some questionable acting. So apologies for that. That was my debut on camera, shall we say. But I look after partnerships with Chrono and the purpose of the partnership is there to pretty much give you some free stuff. And when you do need more from us, which we'll come on to, you get a price that a discount on the premium content, if you will. So I've opened this page up first to talk to you a little bit around what you get for free from us. I will move on to that framework stuff because we'll kind of build into that. So what we've done is produced a special free package for the IAB, which kind of you can see the list here of what we give you. Accountancy Daily News Updates, which actually we changed the name of it to Business and Accountancy Daily. So that's just kind of updates what's changing in business and for accountants. Monthly CPD and use of a CPD tracker, because when you're reading articles from us from free stuff, and you can track your CPD and log that, and it all gets put into a spreadsheet for you. Tax Weekly, which is a weekly, like a flagship news service from us, which includes thought, comment, and opinion from leading experts. Hardman's key data rates and tables. A helpline, there's quite a lot here, as you can see, where you quote your IAB membership, you can get a free call to our tax and VAT helpline, and also monthly webinars and recordings. So I can post a link in the chat here to this particular site, and you can log into that for free. One of our team will just give you a call and just take you through the website, how to find stuff, etc. as well. And if you are interested in any of the premium stuff, then they'll just tell you about it. If you want to have a run through that, they can. No pressure from our side. So That's a little bit around the free stuff. The bottom here, it says monthly webinars and recordings. I thought it was worth mentioning. If I can move this. I'm trying to click on a different tab across the top, but I've got this Zoom bar. I don't know actually know how to remove it. But we've got a webinar coming up on the autumn statement and the repercussions of that. I think there's furnished holiday lettings, VAT, amongst other things that are changing. There's a free webinar that you can subscribe to. I'm just trying to see if I can kind of grab it. Oh, here we go. It's letting me. It just moves out of the way. Then I don't know. There we go. There we go. So, apologies my rubbishness with technology. I do get called a dinosaur. I have an 18-year-old son who does all that kind of stuff for me. So, yeah, so we'll send this link out to the light so you can log in for that. We can send this link out for the autumn budget. There is, when you register for this, you will get after the live session, which is on the 30th of October, you can get a PDF summary of everything we've spoken about as well that you can just obviously refer back to at any point. We just have all of our leading experts, internal writers, VAT and capital gains tax, etc. here will take you through that. So one of the freebies that we offer as well as the content is the webinars to keep you up to date. So look out for those as they come up. But also come up with this example here. Another thing that we do, an offer that we've got at the moment, I just thought, again, I mentioned this, anybody who signs up for webinars or the light or whatever it is. So the owner of our business's daughter runs this heating estate, which is kind of luxury cottages. So it's based in the Lake District, and we're just offering a free weekend away to be chosen at any point that you can make it there. So anybody who registers for the light, you'll be put into a draw for that, and we'll announce the winners kind of mid-November time. So there'll be periodic offers from us coming up with different things. It might be like a weekend away or different things. So look out for that. With emails or anything or contacts from us around those particular offers as well. So one of the things that we're doing in terms of, before I move on to the framework, we created a specific package for the IAB, which is different from our normal packages that we offer, which is kind of an entry-level one, if you will. So it includes information around VAT, guidance around that, national insurance contributions, corporate tax as well. So it's just a kind of dwindled down IAB package that we're offering at a better rate for you as well. So look, we can talk to you about all that kind of stuff. If you're happy to fill in a light form, we can take you through that and talk to you about the packages in a little bit more detail because we haven't got much time today. But that's been created in collaboration with the IAB after a survey that we did about what are the key things you need to know about. But we cover everything: tax, audit, accounting, and company law, AML, anything that you need from a bookkeeping accountancy perspective as well. The platform is here just to show you that we cover everything, all these different areas and everything. But we have specific packages designed for, whether you're a sole trader or a bookkeeper, obviously that IB one that I mentioned and everything else. So that's just a little bit around us, and that's going to kind of feed into what we're talking about in terms of the structure and the framework, which I thought somewhere, here we go. I thought I'd opened it up. So it's the video that Sarah did that I watched the other day was talking about her experiences as a practitioner and how you move from one area to the other, depending on what you want to do. Maybe that you start up to a successful practice and you're earning a good wage. It's just you. Maybe you want to stick to that. But if you want to kind of grow your business and take things from there, then you can do, and obviously hire staff, etc. along the way. So I guess the startup part of the business, how Corona I can support you, is with the free light access. So that's just there with sort of CPD tracker, some CPD, the helpline, the Hardman's rates and tables, and the free updates to kind of keep you up to date. We also do things like AML webinars. So that's obviously important from a startup perspective. You need to check the clients that you've got as well. So keep your eye out for those. And other materials as well. So that's really kind of in the startup stage, the free stuff from us. That's what I'd recommend there as well. When you're starting to grow your practice, you're taking on more clients and you move into the successful practice stage. That's when we'd start to say, look, you're getting more tax queries in, queries around AML, accountancy, UK GAAP, whatever, FRS 105, etc. We provide everything in those packages that we have. So at that point, I would say it might be worth considering, spending some money with us on that. I think the package from memory the packages start from £85 a month. And that will just give you all the guidance you need that's up to date every day. and will, you know, so you can trust the answers that you're getting from leading experts. Of course, you can still use the helpline as well to back up whatever research that you've done. And obviously all the research that you do can also be used with the CPD tracker as well. Moving on from that, we have, well, if you're kind of transitioning into a successful business, or even if you're a successful practice and you're growing the number of clients that you have, there are a few things that we can do there. So there's the CP, and obviously taking on more staff as well. There's the access that you get to the online platform that I mentioned that everybody can have, so they can do their own research. We also provide a full range of CPD courses, some of which you get for free, like a taster of those, but we have a full range of those that that cover accounting, tax, but also they're a bit more technical, but also introductory webinars as well. So there's a database of 300 which we call Tax Essentials, which is designed to give you a 10 or 15 minute overview in a, you know, kind of visual format in a CPD, which all counts towards your points, and that gives you that introductory or overview of that particular area to get you started on research, and it will then link into the library for further reading. What I'm talking about that, I can show it to you actually. But that might be something you want to use at that point. The CPD will help for your employees to get up to scratch with any particular point in tax, but also accounting as well, that overview page from that perspective as well. So just waiting for my, hopefully the internet's not so slow. I'm supposed to be quick in the office here, but there we go. So I've just clicked to Tax Essentials here. As you can see, there's a database here of those 300 that are updated in real time. So if you wanted to look at VAT, for example, and look at imports and exports, there are 7 webinars there. Generally, these are 10 or 15 minutes long, give or take, giving you an overview of exactly what you need to know and to work. So very good for if, you know, you get client query in and you think, okay, look, they're talking about exports and we don't really know where to go. There's a 10-minute overview video for you, and then it will link into the library, to the quick overview into the written word for more detail around that particular section, and then you can branch out from there to what the HMRC is saying, to more detailed content, maybe to a calculator or a decision tree that takes you through a process, whatever it is. So all that content is there and pulled together for the CPD. In terms of the actual content itself on the platform, as I said, we've got everything here that you'd expect to see in terms of detailed commentary, checklists, whatever it may be. We have what we call Navigate Tax, which looks at transactional guides. There's about 100 of them here, taking you through everything you need to do by transaction. So if you had a client with a buy-to-let looking to put it into a property, for example, you can look at this transaction. It will tell you everything you need to know, commercial pros and cons, tax implications, accounting, whatever it may be. So giving an example here of my map, as you can see, let's just kind of open that up in a new window. Here we go. So it will, as you can see here, this just gives a mind map, giving a summary of everything you need to consider here. And then you can click on the links on this little mind map here to take you through to the guidance and commentary on the platform, which is written in plain English, easy to understand, summarizing everything you need to know, with links back to the manuals and further reading, etc., as well on the platform. So everything is in there that you need. Say just as that's kind of the, when you get to that stage where you're getting more of those complex tax queries, and this is the kind of library in the CPD that we suggest using. But also we have another thing that you may find useful is what we call my VIP tax team. So we have a team of consultants, 30 in total, who used to be the predominantly top 10 tax specialists. Now they work for us. All that is a case, if your practice is growing and you're getting tax queries in from a client that you might feel comfortable handling some of them, others may not, you may not do, and maybe you want to keep that client on board so you can keep everything in-house and not have to refer them on to anybody. We can support you with any tax queries that you come in the door. Let me just pull this on Google, just bear with me.